Everyone, Barry Johnson of Engineer Reacts. As some of you know, I've been evaluating the Pixel 6 and the vivo X70 Pro. They are fantastic camera systems. However, in both cases, I recommend using the main rear sensor for most shooting scenarios. All right, time to react.
Engineer Reacts.
The Samsung GN1 is rated as probably the top 2 sensor. However, the Sony IM766 is no slouch. The upcoming Xiaomi 12 is going to use that sensor. All right, so with this out of the way, let's walk through how I baseline for my testing. I flood the area with neutral light dialed in at 5500K. I then add a highlight color. I then try to make all if not considered pro adjustments to the camera. All right, so let's take a look at these photos, these first photos. So this is me setting up the area. If we look closely, they both have really good detail. Please note that one is a little bit brighter, and that kind of surprised me because that's not how the shot was. And that goes more into what I'll talk about in the future, but I'm looking for these differences to see how they react to different lighting scenarios. If I've got light reflecting back from white, does it throw off the sensor? I'm looking at what could possibly happen, so when I go out in the field, it will allow me to make a determination. So this is all part of the dialing in process. So when I look at these photos here between camera A and camera B, yes, there is a difference there. It's not blowing me away at this point. I don't have it totally dialed in, but I can see some sharpness. I can see some detail differences between the sensor. I can see some of the things that are kind of like melting together. So like stuff that is black or variations of black might be all black on one camera as opposed to the other, but they both are showing good bokeh capability, natural. So all these shots that I'm showing you is non-portrait mode. With these sensor sizes that we're getting now, I don't use portrait mode. That's just my personal decision. I rather learn my camera system, use it just like I would use a mirrorless camera that doesn't have digital portrait. And I'm not saying that people should do that. Portrait mode is great. Now I've dialed in. But this is the photo that I would expect to get from a photographer, someone that has dialed in the settings. I see a lot of natural bokeh. I see an in focus box. I see an out of focus box. And this is all done on the Pixel 6. And I wanted to show just one of the phones because if I showed both, then people might have a misunderstanding of where we're going. So I want to kind of do the comparison. So now that I've got everything dialed in, let's go out in the field and we will start taking shots. This park that I'm in is pretty good for this type of test that I'm trying to do. So what I want to do is I want to look at the main sensor, the ultra wide, and the telephoto. Right off the bat, I know the telephoto is going to win because it has a true telephoto compared to the 6. However, I want to see if I would even consider using the ultra wide in this case. Let's start taking some photos.
Engineer Reacts.
There is a variation between shot to shot. So what I found is in video, you never see it. And in the 50 megapixel mode, you never see that. So it's It's something that I hope they fix on the normal mode, because that's what normally people, but I believe it's due to the AI scene detection. It's looking for something and then it gets it wrong. So you'll see a difference not only in exposure, but you'll also see a difference in color between the shots. I would probably recommend using the 50 megapixel mode to keep it steady. But if you know you're gonna be out there, you're just taking shots, it's not like you're at a kid's birthday party, just make sure you take multiple shots, but otherwise use the 50 megapixel mode. On both instances, the wide angle did show me kind of what I was expecting to see. I'm not using the wide angle on either one of these. And this is, again, not to put them down. If you need a wide angle, and you don't have a gimbal with you, just use that, like if you're doing like a vlog or something like that, if you want to use it, because the stabilization algorithms on both camera systems is incredible. But again, in my opinion, just get a gimbal, go into settings, turn off stabilization, and use the main sensor. Why not use a high quality sensor to do that? I'm not saying the ultra wide is bad. I don't want people to think I'm beating up on the ultra wide, but why not use that? I think that would be the best thing. Now that we've kind of covered that, I also wanted to talk about this. So if we look at what Grant does a lot in his videos, and I recommend everybody subscribe to Grant, some of the best comparisons that you're going to see as far as showing what's going on with the camera system. I mention it all the time on the Pixel, and I love the Pixel video. Like literally the Pixel 6 is now my B camera. I do have another mirrorless camera that I use. Let me transfer over to Grant. So this is Grant showing some of the stuff in this video, and you can actually see, this is him at night, and you can see the grain if you look at these two shots of the Pixel 6, and this is going against the Vivo with the GN1 sensor. So two GN1 sensors going against each other, and then it's just the philosophy. But the cool thing about it is you have that control without even the pro mode. Where do I go with all this? The Vivo is an outstanding phone, okay? There was nothing that the Vivo did wrong as far as the OS that even compelled me to do a video of, here's an OS comparison. So there's gonna be differences. There's things that I like about Google that makes it a Pixel that Vivo does that makes it a Vivo, right? So I don't really hear many complaints about FunTouch, which is close to ColorOS. I don't hear many complaints about ColorOS. The only people I hear complaining about ColorOS are OnePlus people that got the latest update, which OnePlus resumed. But I will say, if I am spending and there's $100 difference between the vivo X70 Pro, I just have to go and recommend the vivo X70 Pro Plus. I just think it's a better phone. It has other better supporting cameras than what's on the actual vivo X70 Pro, but I'd be happy with either one of these phones. So this was another episode. This was the engineer. This was my reaction, and we're out.